everyone, and welcome to my April wrap-up. These are all the books that I read in the month of April. I didn't read as many books as I normally read. I still read, let's see, 5 books. So yeah, that's not too bad. And before I show them to you, I just want to say something that I'm really proud of. I didn't buy any books at all in the month of April. And if you have been subscribed to my channel for a while, you know that I buy a lot of books. It's kind of become a problem. Yeah, I buy way too many books. A lot of them I buy cheap when there's deals on Amazon, or when I go to the book fair, which I made videos about. So yeah, so I try not to spend too much money on it, but I still spend probably too much money on it, and I don't have any room left in my room, like none whatsoever. I have a lot of books in storage as well, and yeah, the funny thing is, the 1st of May, like literally the 1st of May, I bought a lot of books, which I'm gonna show you in a next video pretty soon at the end of the month. Yeah, I kind of went crazy and bought a lot of books, so in the end it didn't really change anything, but I'm still proud of myself. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna show you the books that I've read this month. The first book that I read was by George R.R. Martin, A Storm of Swords, Part 2, Blood and Gold, and this is the Son of Ice and Fire series, better known as the Game of Thrones series. And this is Part 3, Part 2, I think. I think this is Part 3, Part 2. But Part 1 and Part 2 are just as thick as all the other books, so it's basically Part 4. I have to say I like this best of all the books I've read so far. I basically read the first book, watched the first season, watched the second season, read the second book, watched the third and fourth season, and then read the third and fourth book, with a little bit of time in between them, so it wouldn't be, you know, I didn't stop watching the series and then immediately start reading the book. I really like to see the changes that they made, the characters that are different. Something happens at the end of this book, I'm not gonna tell you what, but it was like, oh my god, if you've read it, you probably know what I mean. Hasn't happened in the series yet. I'm really curious to see if it's gonna happen. And now I'm also really curious to read the next book, because I have a feeling that the series is really diverging from the books in season 5. I still only have seen the first 3 episodes, but anyway, yeah. I really want to know what happens next in the books, and I really want to know what happens next in the series. So I'm basically kind of really into Game of Thrones right now. I can't say too much about this book without ruining the series, because, you know, it is a Part 4. But if you haven't read Game of Thrones yet, if you have seen the series, or even if you haven't, but you just think you'll like it, I really recommend it. I really love the books. They're really good, even if you have already seen the series. So much is different and so much extra information is given that it's still so much fun to read. And it's not like you're just reading the series or anything. And if you haven't seen or read either of them, I probably recommend you read the books first. Probably, if you have a lot of time. If you want to catch up quickly, I recommend the series. Next, I read White Cat by Holly Black. I really love this cover. It's completely different than what I expected. I didn't really have that many expectations. I knew it was about some form of magic, and Holly Black wrote it, so, you know, you can't go wrong there. And I know that a lot of people really love this book, so I kind of just bought it without really looking into what it was about. Sometimes I really like to do that if I just know I'm gonna like it anyway. I like going into the book without really knowing anything about it. It makes it a lot more interesting. Basically, it's this whole different world where some people have these gifts. There are a few different kinds of gifts that you can have. Some are really rare, some are more common, and a lot of people don't have them at all. They're kind of seen as outlaws. Not really outlaws, but kind of as criminals, the people who do have these gifts, because a lot of them actually are criminals. And Castle, the main character, he comes from one of these crime families, but he's the only one in his family who doesn't have a gift. So whenever his family used to talk about gifts and things that involve their magic, he was never allowed to hear it, so he kind of felt like an outsider. And he's also dealing with his own guilt, because basically This is at the beginning of the book, so it's not a spoiler or anything. A few years ago, he killed the girl that he loved, and he doesn't know why he did it. He only remembers that he was standing over her body, and he knew for certain that he'd killed her, and no idea why he did it. And he's haunted by that memory, and it's all about this magical world, and I'm not gonna tell too much without, you know, giving it away. A cat features in it, by the way. There is a lot of things surrounding a cat. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell too much. It has a lot of amazing world building really quickly. Like, it doesn't spend too much time on it, but it is a really amazing different world. And I really liked it. It was different than what I expected, but I'm not quite sure what I expected. So yeah, recommend it. Next is Unearthly by Cynthia Hand. Also didn't really have a lot of expectations going into this book. I bought it at the book fair and then decided to pick it up for once, because usually I tend to buy a lot of books at the book fair and then just leave them lying around, and except for like 1 or 2 books I was really excited about, it usually takes a while before I read them. But I read this one really quickly. I really liked it. It's about angels, but not the normal, or I'm not sure what the normal angel story is, but it's different from other angel stories that I've read. Basically it's about this girl who is a quarter angel. Her mom was half angel, so her grandfather, I think, was an angel, or her mother. I think her grandfather, I'm not quite sure. So her mom has all these amazing powers, and she has less powers because she's less powerful, but she still has wings. She doesn't know how to fly with them yet, but she has wings. And every angel descendant on Earth, there are quite a lot of them, not like a lot, but more than you think. And they all have this one kind of destiny or quest that they have to fulfill. It's their purpose for being on Earth, and they get visions about it. And basically it's about the main character, Clara, who gets her vision, and then she has to follow it, and her whole family has to kind of uproot and follow the vision. And it's really interesting. It has mystery, it has a lot of angel related things and information, and I just really liked it. It has humor, it has romance, it has a lot of everything, and I really recommend it. Another book that was really different from what I expected is The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I really enjoyed this book, and I really recommend it. I'm gonna have to think of what to say without giving too much away. Basically there are these kids, and Melanie, the main character, is one of them, and they go to the school, and for some reason, she's not sure why, but she's been there as long as she can remember. She does know that she wasn't always there, but she can't really remember first being brought there. They are all locked up in their rooms, like these empty cells, doesn't have anything in it. They don't eat, they don't drink except for once a week. They have to be bound in wheelchairs, like completely, so they can't even move their heads and everything, and are wheeled to this class where they learn about a lot of things, and they don't know why. And then something changes and everything becomes different. I'm not really saying a lot about what it's about, I know, but it's really interesting, and I don't really want to ruin it by saying too much. If this sounds interesting to you, I really recommend you pick it up. It's kind of, it's not really fancy, it's more sci-fi, I'd say. But yeah, it's really good. It's also kind of dystopian. I recommend it. And the last book that I read this month, or last month actually, is a book that I've read before. It's Paper Towns by John Green. I read it a while ago, before The Fault in Our Stars came out. When I bought all his books and just read all of his books. I really liked it back then. I think this was probably the one I liked best of all his books back then. Now it's The Fault in Our Stars, and Will Grayson is the one I like best after that. But I didn't really read a lot of just young adult books. They were always, you know, I read young adult books and other books, but they always had a fantasy element in it. And I never, or almost never really read, you know, a book just about people. So it took a while for me to get used to his books. You can actually see that because the first book that I read from him was Looking for Alaska, and I didn't really like it that much. But then, you know, every book that I read from him, you can see that I like each book better and better. So yeah, that's mostly just me because I never read those kind of books. But I read more of those kind of books now, you know, not fantasy books. And I have to say I really enjoyed it more the second time around. And the reason why I read this, you probably know already, but maybe you don't. The movie's coming out pretty soon. I think in July? I think in July. And I'm really excited to see it because I really liked the Fault in Our Stars movie. I thought it was a really good movie adaptation. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with this one. Those were all the books that I read this month. Let me know if you've read any of them, or if you can recommend me any books or anything at all. Just leave it down in the comments. If you really enjoyed this video, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up, and maybe even subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Also, I reached 100 subscribers. I have 110 whilst I'm filming this video, and I know for some people it's like nothing at all, but when I started this channel I was like, oh, can you imagine if you have 100 people who follow you and who like your videos and like them enough to subscribe. So thank you so much if you've subscribed. I really like it that I have more than 100 followers. It makes me really happy. So yeah, that's all I want to say in this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I think I already said that. Anyway, doei!